A mother decides to catfish her own daughter, harasses her, and gets arrested. I kid you not. Let's put the picture up full mass. This is an insane story, but true. A Michigan mother has been charged after allegedly harassing her own teenage daughter.
Authorities allege Licari used software to hide the origin of the messages, using several numbers and area codes, even allegedly trying to make it look like her daughter's classmates were behind it all.
When the case first came into our office, it was very bizarre and almost hard to believe. We're talking about several hundreds of text messages. I mean, over 1,000 pages of discovery in the case.
For more than 2 years, Lauryn Licari and her boyfriend were bombarded with up to 50 vile texts a day. But local investigators were stumped until they finally turned to the FBI for help. And they uncovered a shocking truth. Hi, I'm Katie, true crime analyst, self-defense instructor, and advocate for victims. And this is Crime House Daily, your weekday true crime companion, a Crime House original powered by Pave Studios. We follow the cases making headlines now, where justice is still unfolding. This is a Night Watch episode bringing you today's biggest crime stories. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel at Crime House Daily so you never miss an episode. This episode discusses active criminal cases and breaking news. The information we share is based on what's publicly available at the time of recording and may change as new evidence comes to light. We aim to inform, not to decide guilt or innocence, so everyone mentioned is presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Tonight, we're diving into one of the most shocking betrayals a family can face. For more than 2 years, Michigan teenager Lauryn Licari and her boyfriend were tormented by a flood of abusive texts, convinced a classmate or jealous rival was behind it. But when the FBI finally traced the messages, the truth stunned everyone. The stalker was Lauryn's own mother, Kendra. Now, with a recent Netflix documentary bringing the case back into the spotlight, disturbing questions remain. Like, why would a mother do this to her own child? For tonight's story, we're getting into a shocking series of events covered in the recent Netflix documentary, Unknown Number, The High School Catfish. So this episode does contain spoilers, including the shocking conclusion of this case. The documentary depicts a barrage of cyberbullying that 2 young high schoolers, Lauryn Licari and her boyfriend, Owen McKenny, endured for over 2 years. And in December of 2022, a suspect was apprehended. Lauryn's own mother. She was ultimately convicted and sent to prison for her crimes, but recently there's been a lot coming out on social media that says the documentary missed a lot of crucial details. So there's still one question lingering over this case. Why did she do it? Let's dive in. The kids at the center of the story, Lauryn and Owen, were grade school sweethearts. They grew up in Beale City, Michigan, a quiet town where a lot of people work in the logging industry. Lauryn was blonde, athletic, and tender-hearted. She spoke softly and loved playing sports. Owen was an athlete as well and dreamed of becoming a professional baseball player. The two of them met at school when they were 12, and by the time they got to high school in the fall of 2020, the two 13-year-olds were dating. It should have been an exciting time for them, starting high school and exploring young love. But instead, they were thrust into a living nightmare. It starts in October 2020, a couple weeks before Halloween. Owen is invited to a Halloween party, but Lauryn wasn't, and it seems like someone wants to rub it in her face. Because before the party, an unknown number starts a group chat with Lauryn and Owen. This person sends a shocking message. Quote, "Hi Lauryn, Owen is breaking up with you. He no longer likes you and hasn't liked you for a while." This is not true, but the mystery sender keeps going. They say, "It's obvious he likes me. He laughs, smiles, touches my hair. Not sure what he told you, but he is coming to the Halloween party, and we're both down to F." Lauryn and Owen try to figure out who's sending these messages. It seems like it's someone they know, because they refer to Lauryn as Lo, which only her friends and family call her. But the person won't say who they are. And then, just as suddenly as this started, it stops. For the rest of the school year, they don't hear from the unknown number at all. But 11 months later, right as the 14-year-olds are starting their next school year, the texts start again. The person behind the unknown number seems determined to break Lauryn and Owen up. They say things like, quote, "How's the happy couple? Preparing for the end of the golden relationship?" They're personally attacking Lauryn too. One message said, quote, "Owen loves me, and I will always be the girl he loves. He will be with me while your lonely, ugly ass is alone." And this time, they don't stop. Lauryn and Owen get a flood of messages from the unknown number, up to 40 or 50 messages a day, and they're getting incredibly disturbing. The sender is saying things like, "You are the ugliest person I've ever seen. You are worthless and mean nothing. Jump off a bridge." And some of them are crude and sexual in nature, making comments about sex acts the sender and Owen were doing behind Lauryn's back. Imagine having to deal with this on a day-to-day basis. It would be hard enough to endure as an adult, but Lauryn and Owen are kids. They do their best to deal with it and ignore the hateful messages. After a few months of this, Owen reaches a breaking point. He just can't deal with it anymore. He FaceTimes Lauryn and suggests that they break up, and maybe then the unknown number will finally leave them alone. But they don't. And after trying to deal with this abuse for so long by themselves, Owen finally tells his parents what's happening. The McKennys go to Lauryn's parents, the Licaris, and they all decide to go to the kids' school to get some answers and hopefully put a stop to this. Owen's mom, Jill, and Lauryn's mom, Kendra, take the lead on it. They go to the school and convince administrators to use surveillance video to see if they can catch anyone sending the messages. And at first, they even wonder if maybe Lauryn is sending the messages herself to get attention. But that's quickly ruled out. Even when Lauryn and Owen get new phones, the messages keep coming. With the school unable to help, the police end up getting involved in January of 2022. Sheriff Mike Main starts working the case, and he zeroes in on his first suspect, Chloe Wilson, who was one of Owen's childhood friends and the girl who threw the Halloween party Lauryn wasn't invited to. Clearly, Chloe and Lauryn weren't close, and Lauryn thinks that Chloe has always had a crush on Owen. One especially odd part is that some of the messages contained very specific information about Lauryn's basketball team, which Chloe also plays on. The unknown number references being on the team as well, mentioning the number of points they scored in the game. Lauryn's mom, Kendra, is the team's volunteer scorekeeper, and when they look up the box score, Chloe is the only one who scored exactly that many points. Things got worse for Chloe when Lauryn and Owen started receiving messages from a number with an area code in Florida, where Chloe had just went on vacation. Chloe's dad is a police officer and believes that his daughter is not the sender, so he encourages Chloe to turn her cell phone over to Sheriff Main. And as he assumed, the metadata is clean and proves Chloe is not the unknown number. But unfortunately, Chloe's reputation had already taken a hit, and a cloud of suspicion still swirled around her. It was like the real sender was using Chloe as a scapegoat, knowing the police would be focusing on her. The question is, who would want to frame her? Chloe's father suspects it could be Lauryn's mom, Kendra, and tells the sheriff to look into her because something is off about her. However, the sheriff doesn't take his suggestion and instead turns his suspicions to Owen's cousin, Adriana, who wasn't a big fan of Lauryn and who had allegedly been bullied in the past by Chloe and her friends. But after looking into her, she is cleared as well. And then the case takes another interesting turn. Sometime around early 2022, Owen starts dating a new girl who lives in another town. And she starts getting abusive messages from the unknown number too. Owen's mom is horrified. Not only has this poor girl been drawn into this situation, but it's clearly taking a huge toll on her son. She begs the police to try harder to find the culprit, and Sheriff Maine decides to call the FBI's Cyber Crimes Unit in April 2022. The FBI's liaison on the case, Bradley Peters, gets to work and figures out that the messages are being sent through an app that can generate new phone numbers. Investigators subpoenaed records from the app that generated the fake numbers used to send the harassing texts, and after analyzing these records, they identified an IP address. And it didn't belong to a friend or classmate. It linked directly to Lauryn's own mother. Sometime in 2022, the FBI finally identified the person behind the flood of abusive messages that had been sent to teenagers Owen McKenny and Lauryn Licari. Lauryn's mom, Kendra Licari. Throughout this years-long ordeal, Kendra had been playing the part of a loving, concerned parent. And when the police arrive with a warrant in December 2022, the scene is simultaneously incredibly odd and heartbreaking. In the Netflix documentary, you can see the whole thing, which was captured on an officer's body cam. When the officer comes to arrest Kendra and sees her devices, Lauryn is right by her side. The poor girl learns that her mom is the one who's been abusing and terrorizing her with these disturbing messages. And the weirdest part of it all is Kendra is hugging and trying to comfort her the whole time. Lauryn is in visible shock, and she tries to understand what is happening. At first, Kendra denies any wrongdoing and admits to sending the messages, but she says she wasn't the one behind the first text in October 2020, before that Halloween party. Kendra claims that she'd started sending messages as a way to figure out who that original sender was, and hoped that the kids would come to her with the problem, and she could help them. But once she started, she couldn't stop. Whether that's true or not, Kendra's also been hiding something else. She says she's lost both of her jobs and had been keeping that information from Lauryn and Lauryn's dad, Sean, for over a year. She had been pretending to go to work and instead spent hours each day sending unspeakable texts to her own daughter and her boyfriend. Although lying about losing a job and pretending to go to work isn't a crime, she is, however, arrested for the crimes she did commit against her own daughter and her boyfriend. Kendra is charged with 2 counts of stalking a minor, 2 counts of communicating with another to commit a crime, and 1 count of obstruction of justice. And with how excessively graphic some of these texts were, I'm shocked sexual harassment wasn't included. Ahead of her trial in April 2023, Kendra pleads guilty to the 2 stalking charges, and the others are dismissed. She's sentenced to a maximum of 5 years in prison. In court, Kendra breaks down in tears and apologizes for the pain she's caused. But the judge doesn't show any sympathy for her. He tells Kendra that this case has shown him, quote, "the worst in human nature. I can't imagine any parent saying such horrible things to her own daughter." Shortly after her incarceration, the director of Unknown Number, Skye Borgman, sits down with Lauryn for the first time. It's only been a few months since her mom's arrest, and she's still coming to terms with everything. In that moment, she says she still wants Kendra in her life, although Lauryn's dad isn't so forgiving. After Kendra was arrested, he filed for divorce. And when Kendra is released after only 19 months, on August 8, 2024, Lauryn's mindset has changed. She isn't ready to reconnect, and as part of Kendra's release, she's not allowed to contact Lauryn. After she gets out, Kendra gives her side of the story to Skye Borgman. She admits that she made a mistake, but feels like she's been unfairly judged. She says, quote, "Realistically, a lot of us have probably broken the law at some point or another and not gotten caught. I'm sure people drove drunk, haven't been caught." According to Kendra, she did all of this just to protect Lauryn. She says that she had been raped when she was younger and, quote, "As my daughter was hitting those teenage years, I got scared. I was afraid of letting her grow up, wanted to protect her and keep her safe. This isn't to say that she was afraid that Owen would hurt Lauryn. When asked to weigh in, Skye Borgman said, quote, "I don't think what Kendra is saying is that she was afraid Owen was going to rape Lauryn. Her fear was having her little girl grow up and go out into this big, bad world. She did these things to keep Lauryn closer, to have Lauryn come to her for help. By sending these text messages, she was essentially forcing Lauryn closer to her." But this reasoning has fallen flat for a lot of people. Numerous articles have pointed out that if Kendra was trying to protect Lauryn, why would she send her daughter messages encouraging her to kill herself? One possibility that's been floated around adds an even darker dimension to the case, and it has to do with the other child involved, Owen McKenny. A lot of the messages made it seem like the person behind them was obsessed with Owen and wanted him for herself, making people wonder, when Kendra sent those text messages, was there an element of truth? After the Unknown Number documentary was released, a lot of people wondered if there was something even more sinister about Kendra Licari's behavior. They wondered if she maybe had a dangerous obsession with her teenage daughter Lauryn's boyfriend, Owen McKenny. And there's a lot of questionable behavior pointing to this possibility. According to Owen, Kendra would cut his steak up into little bite-sized pieces when they had dinner with her family, which isn't necessarily odd on its own. But Kendra showed a questionable interest in Owen, even after he and Lauryn broke up. For instance, she kept going to his sporting events. And an article from The Cut that came out before the documentary was released says that Kendra was even Owen's track coach when he was younger. Not only that, but she would also drive Lauryn hours to go see his meets. And she even suggested making a 2-family vacation out of one of his events in Florida, a suggestion that Owen's family politely declined. And her behavior after Lauryn and Owen's breakup does point to some kind of continued interest in his life. Remember, after Owen started dating another girl, Kendra sent her messages as well. The question was raised, why would Kendra go after this other girl a year after Owen and Lauryn ended? In the documentary, Owen and his mom do wonder if Kendra was attracted to him. Kendra denied it when she was asked by the police, but the documentary didn't really dive too far deep into the possibility, largely because the director Skye Borgman sees her as an unreliable narrator. She told the Today Show, quote, "I think her memories have sort of changed her version of the truth. I think she's got a little bit of revisionist history," which leads to another theory about what could have made Kendra do something so horrible. In the documentary, Bill Chillman, the former Beale City superintendent, wonders if Kendra's behavior was a digital form of Munchausen by proxy. If you're not familiar with Munchausen by proxy, it is a form of abuse where a caregiver, usually a parent, fabricates, exaggerates, or induces illness in a child in order to gain attention, sympathy, or praise from others, and maintain control or dependence, keeping the child reliant on the caregiver for care, approval, and protection. The caregiver benefits psychologically or socially from being seen as devoted, heroic, or needed. If you've heard of the Gypsy Rose case, this is what her mom was doing, but instead of making her child sick, Kendra bullied her child. It's important to note that as of this recording, Kendra has not been diagnosed with this condition, but it's a theory that's gotten a lot of support, including from Isabella County prosecutor David Barbary, who helped make the case against Kendra. They think that Kendra might have been desperate enough to make Lauryn need her, which is why she sent those horrible messages. But for now, these still remain theories. People have come forward saying that the documentary missed a couple crucial details in the case. Apparently, after Lauryn and Owen broke up, Kendra allegedly tried to encourage them to get back together and encouraged Lauryn to sit next to him at games. The people impacted by Kendra's crimes are moving on with their lives the best they can. Owen McKenny kept attending Beale City High School and tried to put the entire ordeal behind him. He remained active in sports and was even named homecoming king his senior year. Owen graduated in May 2025 and committed to play baseball at Hope College in Holland, Michigan. He and Lauryn are no longer close, but Lauryn has done her best to move on as well. As of this recording, she's 18 years old and a freshman at Mid-Michigan College, where she plays softball. And although her relationship with Kendra remains broken, Lauryn is closer than ever to her father, Sean. With how popular Unknown Number is, I doubt this case is going anywhere soon. It's become one of the modern landmark cases in true crime. And as always, we'll keep a close eye on any new developments. What did you think of today's case? Drop your thoughts and theories in the comments. See you next time. If you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Crime House Daily and follow us on social media at CrimeHouse 24/7 for real-time updates, because the pursuit of justice never stops.